Oh, and hello, and I just thought I'd do another quick little video. I'm currently constructing another sort of shed construction, and for those who follow my channels, you remember in one of my previous videos I just knocked up that little sort of lean-to shed there for to store our bikes that were taking up space in the greenhouse. Well, my project for today, we got this sort of ragged looking sort of construction that was left from the previous owner, sort of like made from old window frames, etc. And I require some storage, additional storage, because I'm renovating a property. So I'm basically going to replace this. So we're just going to make some additional storage in the garden. I've only got the 4 sheds and it doesn't seem quite enough. But so I've just made a start, and I thought, well, it might be worth making a video. And this is what we look like so far. That's going to be one of the sides, and I'll take some pictures as we go along, and we'll piece it all together. And so that's the main glass side at the moment, if that makes sense. And we're just going to featherboard it. Then I'll put a sort of clear Perspex roof on the top there, so we'll get some light in there as well. So it's not really a secure shed as such, just something to keep some bits out of the weather and keep them dry. So I'll press on. Got a new little toy today as well. I bought the stand here for my cutter, and it's making life so much easier. So it was relatively good price, I thought, from Screwfix, and it's not the one for the Makita, it's their make. I can't think what it's called at the moment, but it fits perfectly, and I'm really pleased with it for the price as well. I think it's about £54 or something like that. So there's a little recommendation if you want a stand for your saw. So I'll press on, and I'll give you a little update in a minute. Right, I've nailed the first side of my structure together. Just in case you're wondering what these little bits here are for, or along the bottom, that's what it's actually going to stand on. So they'll be wrapped in like a damp-proof membrane, and it just keeps everything off the ground. And I'll just sort of explain. So here we go. We've got our feather board here. This is our feather board, which is going to go all the way along there, and it's just going to sit on there like something like that, if that makes sense. If you're getting all that in. And then there'll be like a gravel board which will sit along the bottom like that then. And I'll put all that on once we put the structure together, and then I'll nail on all the featherboard. And what I'll probably also do, which I've done with a lot of sheds, is before the boarding goes on, I'll put on a breathable membrane. So these are other little additional sort of studs in the middle there. They're just add rigidity to the structure really. So I'll press on, and we'll see. And this section is going to be our roof. So just going to make it all in sections and then put it together like a big mechanic. Right, here's all the sides for our shed construction. So we've got the roof and one of the sides there, and the 2 sides there, well, 3 sides. I've jumped forward since the last clip because we've just had horrendous weather here. We actually had huge floods in this area, made the main news. So this is the first nice day we've had, so I'm going to press on. And that structure you saw earlier on is gone now, so here's what remains of it. And this is where it's going to go now, the new structure. Everything's still, all the bits of rubbish that were in there are still there. So I'm going to press on with that. And I don't know, perhaps we'll have a bonfire or something tonight and get rid of all this timber. But it's been absolutely horrendous here, so I'm going to make the most of this weather and really sort of push forward now. Right, I've just situated the front panel here, and you can just see the damp course I was on about. So this bit of damp course will fold up like that, and then there'll be a additional membrane going over across a whole lot of it before it's boarded as well. Just a breathable membrane, just for some additional weatherproofing. So I'm going to level all that up, and then I'm going to just staple that damp course on there. And it's starting to become something now, so I'll just press on with that, and we'll catch up on the next stage in a sec. Right, got all my sides together. Just nailed them with a nail gun. This is only, well, possibly just a temporary structure. There's that bit of damp-proof membrane just going to turn over. There'll be a bit of board over it, and then it'll make a strimming edge as well against the lawn. And I don't know if you can notice that there's a gap. I never sit the timbers on the floor. I just always keep, so they're sat on timbers which are wrapped in a damp-proof membrane as well. So it's, you know, it'll last quite a few years if I didn't do that, but I know it'll just have a bit better longevity if I do that as well. So I'll attempt to get the roof on, which is all the way down there at the bottom of the garden. It'll be fun on my own, and hopefully, I don't know, the next stage after this is just to wrap a membrane around it and then board it up. I'll see how I get on. If I can get it all done this evening, that would be great. Right, we've gone into day 2. I know I go on and on about it, but the weather has been really, really rubbish. So I'm pretty happy with the way things have gone. I'm just going to put a wrap around this construction here, just that breathable membrane before I board it up. But what I will do as well, just because I usually over-engineer things, I don't know, it's just how I am. We've got a little bit of movement if we rock it like that, which is quite normal for this sort of construction before it's boarded up. There's a couple ways of getting rid of that. You can, well, even if you put like an OSB in the board in the inside, it automatically become completely rigid. You know, it would stop any sort of back and forth movement. But what I'm going to do is just get a few diagonals in some of the corners. So, for instance, like this back wall there, I'll just put a piece of timber in. You know, obviously from corner to corner like that, and on the opposite corner, and it's surprising that makes a huge amount of difference. So I'm just going to do that, and then I'll show you a little clip of that. Right, and there we have it. Put those little angle pieces in, and you can sort of see how I've done it there. And for the sake of those couple of bits of timber, it makes a huge difference to the structure. That is absolutely solid and doesn't wobble in the slightest. So it's only, you know, what have I done? 2, 4, 8 little bits of timbers on the angles there, and it makes a huge difference. So I've done it on all the opposite sides, so you don't get any wobble either way. And I do realise that, you know, doing all these sort of little mitre cuts and bits and bobs, you know, might be tricky for some people. I've got quite a bit of kit, but I used to do all this as well before I had all my fancy bit of all my tools and things like that. So, you know, it can all be done with a hand, with a saw and hammer and nails, but obviously just takes a bit more time, that's all. So I'll get that wrapped and boarded, and then we'll have another little look. So I just noticed I haven't mentioned anything about the roof yet. I'm just going to put clear Perspex, the sort of corrugated clear roof sheeting, and the reason for that is just it lets a lot of light without worrying about the security of having windows there. But what I have done in the past is I've used like a white breathable membrane, so you're still getting the light when people can't really see what's inside. So I'm just umming and ahhing which to do, the roof first or the sides. Oh well, we'll find out in a minute in the next clip. Right, I've got all the membrane on all the way around the side. That's what it looks like from inside. In case you're wondering what product this is, it's just it's the same sort of thing roofers would use just before tiling. It's just an ordinary sort of roofing membrane. So I've just started cladding it. So I'm just putting just ordinary feather board. The way it works out, I've done everything to fit, so it fits exactly the size of the feather board, and then on the side I'm going to put the feather board the other way. It just works out perfectly, you know, the 6 foot feather board. And even that section there between the door there is exactly 6 foot. So it will look similar to that bike shed I made a little while ago. So I'll press on with that, and then I did opt to do the sides first, not the roof, so we'll press on with that. Right, I know there's some people who probably doubt me when I whinge on about the weather and things taking a lot longer than they should. I've frantically just thrown up the sheeting, the corrugated sort of clear plastic sheeting on the roof, and managed to clad 2 of the sides, so we're obviously inside the shed at the minute. I managed to clad the 2 sides, that side and that side there. So we'll have a little look outside. So it was beautiful blue skies, and now it's absolutely tipping it down. So there we go, I've cladded that side. I'm going to put some guttering on there obviously, and I've done that side there as well. So this is what I'm up against. So hopefully the next clear day, going back in for shelter, a couple hours work and it'll all be done, and I'll have a good tidy up in here. And I think what I'm going to do on the floor here, because it's a couple different levels, there's this level here and then it sort of steps down there, I'll put a timber floor, and then that way it'll keep everything nice and dry off the ground. You know, if I put like bags of cement or anything in there, they should stay nice and dry. But good recommendation for anyone. I always do it. I always line the sheds like this when I build them, and they're 10 times stronger than they need to be honest. I'm using 3x2 timbers here for the main structure, and it's just that extra bit of weatherproofing, and just it works. It's a bit of a wind barrier, weather barrier, and you know it's so simple, and it doesn't cost hardly anything, you know. So probably, you know, an extra sort of £30 of materials, and you get something that will last a lot longer, and definitely recommend it. Rightio, hopefully the next little clip will be of it all completed then. 3 days on, and finally got a break in the weather. So I've cladded it all now, and starting to resemble something half decent. So I'm not going to bother putting it. I did mention earlier on I might put some sort of membrane on the top, but I think I'm just going to leave it like that. I won't put any keep anything expensive or precious in there really, so we'll take my chance. So I'll just press on now, attach the roof, because I'd only just thrown those bits of timber up there just to hold everything on. I'd made a start. These are the fixings. There's a sort of a little spacer in between the ridge and a cap there. I think I can, and you just screw all the way through, and so I'm just going to do that all the way along, and we'll get some guttering on there as well, and job's a good one. So even considering I hadn't quite finished it properly, it was bone dry in there. So just even with the bit of barrier around the side before I cladded it, that was enough to keep the weather out. So I'll press on with that, and the next little clip should be completed. I'm not, because of what I'm keeping in there, I'm not in a rush to put a door on. So we'll get that done in time, but I'm just really busy with other work at the minute, and it's not too vital. It's just to sort of keep some bits and bobs in here. Right, I've just gone round buttoning it all up, just like underneath the soffits here. Just got that timbers there all the way around, and the roof is finally on properly. If I go up there, I don't know if you can just about see the fixings in there, little spaces in between the ridges and the plastic caps on the top there. So it's all looking fine, and I put some dirty great big screws just screwing the actual structure down to the base. And the next little job, and near on finish then, is I've just got this plastic angled sort of fascia stuff. I don't know how well you can see it there. And that's going to go just as a little sort of facing cap on there. I have to forgive the filming. This is what happens when you're doing everything on your own. So that's going to go on there like that. Just finishes it all off, and a bit of weather protection. So I got those to put on the side. And from a very long time ago, when I built my summer house, which is down there, I've got this guttering left over. There's some clips and butts. I think I need to get like an end cap and a drain off there as well, so that will go on there, and then it'll be job done. So I'll get those couple little jobs done, and then we'll have a final look at it. Right, I've just cleared the inside of the shed here, just for preparations of the floor. I've got loads of old decking from a job I did, just ripping up some decking. So that's what I'm going to use. So it's just going to go from this raised bit of concrete across, level it all off. So I'm just going to make a really basic frame. I'm going to make that out of decking as well, just because I got a shed loaded, no pun intended. I've got loads of decking about, so I'll crack on with that, and perhaps I'll take a little quick snap or something in between stages, just to so you can see what's going on. It would be nice to sort of film, but when you're on your own, I've got to sort of stop, start, and just show each stage of the progress. But right, so all I've done now is I've just laid out some deck boards as a level platform. You know, I'd never do a proper decking job like this. You know, the frame would look more like that, but obviously on the floor, usually sort of 4x2s or 6x2s or something like that. But I've got to remember what this is. It's a shed at the end of the day. So I've just laid those sort of two long deck boards along there, level, and then just put these ones across, and then I've got some deck boards prepared, which I'll lay lengthwise now. So I've just tacked everything in position. It'll be more than good enough. Keep things off the ground, and all the ones along the ground here, I've just given a little bit of a treatment just for the hell of it, and I'll never get to them again, and we'll give it a bit of protection. And at the end of the day, it's keeping everything off the ground that's stored in here, so less chance of things going mouldy. But I'll crack on, and I'll put those other boards across, and we'll have another quick look at it again then. Right, I think we'll leave it there. I got the floor down. Let's have a little look in. So I hope this is capturing it nicely. So there's a bit of a concrete base there, and then it sort of turns into a timber floor there. So what's really nice is there's absolutely no bounce in it at all, actually, which surprised me, because it's only just knocked up really quickly. So we'll head out, and I got my little bit of guttering on here as well. Just the downpipe to put on there. And a huge amount of this is all surplus materials. So win-win. So we managed to do a lot of the frame and all the floor there, all just with surplus stuff that's lying about. So reduce, reuse, recycle, or something, is that what they say? So once again, just the usual, please like and subscribe. And that was building a shed, and as usual, lots more projects in the pipeline, and we'll catch you on the next video. Right, I've nearly finished this video about 3 times, and I keep adding little bits onto it. I've just using it at the moment, this new shed, as a bit of a potting shed, so I've been planting up lots of little bits and bobs there. I've got beans and sweet corn and tomatoes, etc. But the thing I really wanted to show you, which I've just knocked up, is I got these old car batteries there, which have been charged up with a tiny little solar panel at the top there. And what I've done is, in my son's room, one of the lights he had packed in, basically it was a little transformer which has got the 12 volt bulbs in. I've wired all that to the car batteries, So we got a little switch here, and bearing in mind I haven't bought a single thing. This is all, that's old lawnmower wire I had kicking about, and I'm going to wire those up in series or parallel, let me get that right, whichever way keeps the 12 volts but increases the ampage, so we don't increase the voltage because they're 12 volt lights there. But it's all working. I'll do a little demonstration. Just flick a switch, and so I'm going to have to come here at night just to do a proper demonstration, I think. But yeah, just ordinary house switch. And I'll take you for one last look around the outside, and we'll do one last video at night when it's all just to see the bulbs working nicely, because that's changed a little bit too. I'm gonna have a door there with a looking a bit more ship shape. Put a water butt on the side as well, so we're collecting all the rainwater. So and again, that's something else I managed to acquire. So there's very little expense really, just all bits of plumbing things that were being thrown away. Little tank connector. So I'll do one last little, I don't know whether, is it necessary for me? You can see they're working. I did not, just wanted to see the effect of them at night. Yeah, we'll do one last little quick clip of them being switched on at night, and I'll wrap it up at that. So as usual, I think I said it already, like and subscribe, and look forward to many other videos. Thanks then. Right then, quick test of our little solar battery light we've wired up. Feels a bit weird, the security light on in the house is on there, lighting everything up here. So we'll go in, nice and dark here. It's the first time I've ever used it myself. Hey, check it out, eh? Very happy with that. Let's knock it off. Knock him back on. Free electricity coming from free car batteries. You just trickle charged little solar panel up there. We got all those lights there. Way more power than I need. But hey, what can you do? That's lovely. Good night all.